Hello fellow paranormalers, and welcome to this vlog. A discussion, okay? And this has come about from me personally, things that have happened to me and such like, and also a conversation we had with a client a few days ago about messages that come to you, things that happen to you, things that seem to make themselves apparent to you. They can come in the form of numbers, of direct messages, of situations that happen, things that happen to you. Messages can kind of come from pretty much anywhere, really. And I am a firm believer that when certain numbers keep appearing, or a saying, or you hear several people saying the same thing, and it starts to click, and you think, whoa, and you kind of have a bit of a deja vu moment, even. You kind of have to take notice, and I've had this pretty much all of my life, and I've always been very aware, and there are patterns of numbers that keep reoccurring for me recently that you can't ignore. I mean, I can't ignore them. And when you look at the translation or the meaning of those patterns of numbers, you then start to piece things together. And you mustn't. I don't believe you must ignore them. They are either coming from your spirit guide, or your guardian, but usually from your spirit guide, telling you, depends on obviously the message that's being given, but you're involved in the paranormal. If you keep being given, if you do paranormal investigations, or you do paranormal sessions, or whatever you like to call it, and you keep being something keeps coming through for you, you need to listen. You need to listen to these things. But you need to use your gut feeling to find out whether it is actually really something that's for you, about you, for someone else. Because it could be that something is trying to make contact with you for someone else as well. So, you just have to be very aware about these things coming through. Give you an example, or several examples. I've had something in me rekindled again, okay, about my belief, about my spirituality. Not that it wasn't suppressed, it was always there, it never really goes away, but let's just say the strength of it maybe wasn't as strong as it could have been, okay, or that it was. And I'm not kidding, in the past, it's like I had a slap round the face one day. It was quite interesting. And then all of a sudden, things just started fitting into place. Things just started to appear almost out of nowhere, as it were. That term, it came out of nowhere. It was like I started hearing messages. I started just coming across objects that are related to what's been rekindled, and I just find it interesting how things just slot into place. And again today, two things have come up for me that I just think, actually three things today have cropped up for me that I wasn't looking for, wasn't searching for, but it was just like, here you go, you need to have this. And one of them was in a supermarket, and I'm thinking, really? Wow, okay, right. I've got to get this thing, and it's I find it fascinating. It is fascinating. It's also very satisfying inside when you know that you're doing something right, because I guess my guardian angel is pointing me in the right direction, is making whatever needs to be done for me right now, for my home, for my family, that it is coming together, all of these things, and I'm now on my way to go and pick up 2 other things that have cropped up, and it was again, bam, it was like, take notice of this is what you need this, or and again, one of the things was something that I have been thinking about for quite a while, but was kind of reluctant to make a commitment about something, and then the time is right, the money, I'm purchasing these things, the money was exactly right. In fact, the money was fantastically right. Finances are a little bit thin, so yeah, this stuff just happens, and you just have to recognize it. And also, importantly, you have to thank. You have to make an offering, or offer a prayer, or give thanks in some form. Light a candle, burn some incense, go and sit somewhere, meditate, do something that you are not paying back, but you are recognizing, to say thank you for pointing me in the right direction. It's very, very interesting. It is very interesting. I've had messages come through on sessions recently, especially last night. I just did a session. I was experimenting with the portal. No, not with the portal actually, with just the PSB7 and the baby monitors. And it was just such a, it was just a wake-up call, really. It was, and this is happening time and time and time again. A week will go by and nothing will make itself known, and then all of a sudden, as I say, I'll kind of get a slap round the face and say, something is saying, wake up, you need to do this, that, you need to have that, you need to do this, this is your path, this is your purpose. You mustn't ignore it, because you get left behind. That opportunity may never arise again. And I had much the same thing probably 30 plus years ago, starting on this path, this specific path, and again, everything just slotted in place, and that continued on until something rather nasty happened to me with a certain person, sort of back end of the 90s. There were several things going on, and it kind of knocked me for 6. Not something that I was expecting to have happened to me, and I just kind of knocked it on the head at that. Well, not really knocked it on the head, but it's still there. It never goes away. But you just focus on other things, and there was a lot of turmoil around that time. For about 4 years or so, and then after that, things started changing again, because I refocused, got myself back on track, and started going back on the right path again, as it were, with with my beliefs and in spirituality, etc. And then things started happening again, positive things, you know, and they've continued. They've never gone away. And but now it seems like, you know, in a different phase, and it's kind of mind blowing. You know, it's more mind blowing than it's ever been before. It's like, you know, almost times 10 than what it was before, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating. But all I can say is that if you see patterns of numbers that keep occurring, now you see these patterns of numbers in all sorts of places. It can be your clock, it can be your phone, it can be the dials in your car. You know, it's something that you actually recognize excuse me, as a pattern of numbers or a series of numbers that keep reoccurring. They could appear on a receipt, they could appear on a book, could appear on your computer, could appear in an email, it could appear on a number plate, you know, and if you keep seeing these patterns of numbers, you know, you've got to take note. You have to take notice about what it means. And the same goes if you hear or read, you know, certain words and sentences and such like, you know, things like that. You have to look into it, because there's something is giving you a message, it's pointing you in the direction of something. You know, it's not just me. Don't believe what just I say. I'm just relaying my experience and what's happening to me. But you know, there are plenty. I've watched dozens of YouTube videos and watched other people's vlogs and experiences and such like, and they experience the same thing, and they say the same thing as me. Don't ignore these messages. You know, find out what it means. Just acknowledge them, find out what they mean, and then, you know, become aware, and then take action on them. You know. So anyway, I thought I'd just share that with today. I think it's for me personally, it's happened too often not to actually do this video. You know, my natural instinct is to always not dismiss, but kind of, oh yeah, okay, you know, that could be anything random. And then after a lot of times of saying that, you have to start thinking, well, this isn't really random, is it? You know, this is coming up too often for it to be random. If it was random, it'd probably happen 1 in every 1,000 times or something. When it becomes, you know, every day you see the same pattern of numbers, you get the same message, you've got to start taking notice. You know? Anyway, thank you very much. I'm rambling. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again in another video.